Alrighty, everyone. So, next stats is coming up. We are getting 4 new centers, and I've been wanting to do more deck profiles in the channel. I know there has been a few already going out on other channels. I want to give my take on these decks. Probably not the best, but I want to try it out, and I want to see what everyone thinks. And we are gonna start with Ray, which is the deck that I want to build the most from this next set, and probably the one that I had to think the least. I had to think a bit and look at some stuff, but I feel like this deck was much easier to make than a Nova. I feel like Nova has a few things that I'm not sure about yet, so I'm still looking into that. I need to test it a little bit more, just so I understand the deck better. But yeah, then we are gonna start with Ray. Ray. We have the Japanese image here. It says, I don't know if I'm gonna cut the whole thing or leave it low, but it has a team auto that says at the beginning of your attack phase, you drew 2 or more cards by your effects. This turn, target 1 level 2 or lower signal. Target 1 level 2 or lower Signy, and you may pay 1 color less in the blue. If you do, that Signy on the bottom of its own deck. So basically what this means is that if you drew 2 or more cards, you can attack. I can pay color less in the blue, bounce anything on the board, yours or your opponent's. You probably wanted to yours to be your opponent's. Sorry. Um, so you open a lane, yeah, at the beginning of your attack phase. And this is even better because it puts it on the bottom of the deck, not giving enter to your opponent, which is really great. And then the enter ability is draw one and then enter charge one, just base thing. And then your once per game, pretty cool too. You don 2 upped level 2 L rigs, so you need to have both of your L rigs leveled up, max, versus. And then you can discard all cards from your hand. Your opponent discards cards from their hand equal to the number of blue cards you discarded this way. So that's why the build should be a bit more. You kind of want to have a lot of blue cards, so you have enough. Maybe discard your opponent's whole hand. You can basically go with this to just go all in, do damage, because if you make your opponent discard every single card in their hand, they will definitely not have a servant. So, and then if they're playing like um diagram or something that has Madoka as portal rig, the system rig, they can't down your all of your lanes because they would need to discard 2 cards. They will not have that, and stuff like that. There are other cards that want that. But then our assistal rigs, of course, we're playing no limit, so they are Akino and Hirana. Let's start with Akino. Our level 2, what? Sorry, level 1 Akino is we're playing Akino Rock, so we can return target level 2 or less signal on our opponent's owner's hand. So once again, just not giving our opponent enter by vanishing them. We're literally just returning them to the hand. It's basically the team auto of Ray on a level 1, but the team auto you basically can do every turn in an attack phase. Don't forget it costs 2 enter, but even then. So this is for more early game aggression. It's pretty good. You're just bouncing something, attacking through there. And then as level 2, we are playing Akino Bye Bye. which you can use it on your opponent's attack phase. You return target signature your opponent's turner's hand. Once again, just returning it back to hand, not vanishing, not anything. They can play. The thing with bouncing it to hand is that they can play it next turn, but you want the attack in there. You're not giving them enter, so they can't use that enter, that attack phase or anything else. So yeah, bouncing it to hand, and then negating an attack. Then you can pay a white, a colorless, and then add target signy with a guardian from your trash to your hand. So you get a guard. You can pay 2, bounce something, and then pay 2 more and grab a servant, which is pretty nice. And so this is the base assist on No Limit, I believe, in Hirana. This is the Akino assist you run 2. The thing in Ray, which is the thing that I like the least, is that you have to play Hirana assist because your effects are basically Ray effect is basically the thing with Hirana assist that I don't like. So we're gonna go into the level 1. Level 1 is basically just Hirana on stage, vanish target level 2 or less signy on your opponent. Basically, our level 1s are one returns to hand, the other one vanishes, level 2 or less. Basically, run of mill, just to get even more attacks in the early game as soon as you can. And then the level 2 is one that we are getting on this set 2, which is called Piranha Stamp. You can use it in main phase or attack phase. And the enter ability is just the normal one without cost. Is target one signature opponent's field 12k power or lower and vanish it. So you can basically vanish almost anything unless you're playing against. But even then, they usually have some or green in red when that deck that pumps up their ignis a lot gets often. But as of right now, that's basically almost basically anything. And then the second ability is you can pay 5, and if it is your opponent's turn, your opponent cannot pay enter costs of 1 or more this turn. So it's basically attack phase effects. They can pay attack phase effects during that turn, unless their cost is somehow. Yeah, that's I think the best Hirana assist you can get right now. I think not letting your opponent pay enter costs during their attack phase. It depends on what they're playing and everything, but I think it can sometimes. I feel like when you're playing against decks that have on attack effects that you pay enter costs, might be this depending on how much enter you have, because there is some stuff that you use enter on, not much though, which makes the deck pretty nice because you don't have to pay that much for the stuff you want to play, and we're gonna see that in a little bit. And then the pieces that we are playing is Glory Grow. Of course, we are playing the team. We're gonna play the team. This shit is too strong. It's basically target 1 level 3 rig on your field, and it gets the following ability. Turn, it gets double crush, and your opponent cannot guard. It's basically 2 damage right there. Alright? So, pretty strong. Your opponent cannot guard, so you can play this whenever you want, as early as you want. This only crushes Life Cloth, but even then, pretty nice. And then you have the Raise ability. On the next turn, you can literally just discard everything and not be able to guard this either, which is pretty nice. So it's basically when they're at 2 life cloth, 2 turns. One turn you kill everything, the next turn you their hand and just go for it. But even then, you will have your attacks, you have everything. You're doing stuff to just control. I feel like on this stat, you have some decks that are controlling. Nova is even more. The other piece we are running is Song of Wicross, which is basically main phase or attack phase. You have a blue Elrog on your field, draw 3 cards, and at the end of your turn, discard 2, which helps Ray. We draw 3 cards. This can be used in any manner of situations. But let's say we are playing our level 3 turn. We want to activate our raise effect. We have enough blue cards. We draw 3. We discard everything. Make our opponent discard everything. And then you don't even need to bother with the discard 2 at the end of your turn because you don't have any cards to discard, right? Which is pretty nice. Um, that's one of the situations. If you need servants on your hand, you can use this on your opponent's turn, and you only need to discard the 2 cards at the end of your turn. So the cards you draw, even if you use this on your opponent's attack phase, the cards you draw, you will only need to discard 2 at the end of your turn after your opponent's turn. So you will still have your cards for Ray if you want to. You only need to discard from max hand size at the end of your turn, so that's pretty nice. But we're gonna go into the main deck list right now. We just did our Elric deck. We're gonna start with our level 1s, which let's just jump with 4 servants. Gonna be renegade everywhere. 4 servants. Then we want cards that make us draw, so we can activate the raise team effect. So we are running the level 1 Regalekis that on enter draws a card and he makes you start a card. The life burst is not that bad. Draw 2 cards, just keep on drawing, right? Pretty fun. Then we are running 3 Heniels. Can run this. You might not want to run this. It's your call. Just I like this card just because I like being able to search my deck. And we're gonna check our level 2s later, but this is pretty cool if we can just play this turn 1, look at the top cards of our deck, search for a level 2, put it in hand, and bottom on the rest on the bottom. That but doesn't matter. But looking for our grade 2s, get like a more explosive level 2 in about Vanguard, and now I'm grade 2. Level 2 to get a better level to turn and all of that, even more with what you're running. It's pretty great. So I like to run this card. You don't need to. I've seen builds that don't run this. I like it personally, but you can just run anything else. There are the vanilla level 2s with 10k and crazy effects. I don't like to run cards just because of their life burst effects. So yeah, but I like this card. I like to run this card. The life burst effect is not bad. Basically the same thing, but it's any Signy, level 2 or less. You can grab guard servants with it too. Pretty nice. It's an old card, so I don't think I need to talk too much more about it, but I really like this card. Then for the rest of our level 1s, we are running 2 bronze natural crystals for red and blue. I'm gonna explain this later because there are red cards that I'm running that you don't see on this build. I made it a little bit different. Probably not the best. You have to try for yourself to see if you like it this way, but yeah. So 2 bronze natural crystals for red and blue, and then 4 Procyon A for white and. Then we jump into our level 2s. We start with Gagiel, so another card to draw cards. So when it enters, you draw in this card, and whenever it attacks, you draw in this card. and then your life burst is down targeting your opponent's hit and draw another card, just enabling your Ray. Draw and discard, draw and discard. Then, because we are drawing and discarding so much, I decided to run Hijikata. Again, I haven't seen this card run in many Ray builds, at least the ones that have been posted online. I haven't seen people really run this. You run this more on Madoka because her enter ability makes you discard two. Then you use Charmed of the Blessed Key, which is a faster Song of Wicross because Charm of the Blessed Key, draw three, discard two. You don't wait for the end of the turn, so it enables Ijikata even more. But since I felt like if we are already running like Regalekis to enter, draw, and discard, we're running Gagiel to draw and discard, you will be drawing and discarding. And then we run another level 3 that makes you discard. I felt like Hijikata was a nice addition. You're just helping. It's basically a 10k attacker. You're making your opponent discard cards. So you make amount of blue cards you need for Ray isn't as much as need, like as much as you're just making your opponent discard through the game. This is what I was talking about our level 2 turn. If we have Hijikatas or we have Lancelots, we're playing 3 of each. Lancelot is pretty nice red card. Just enter, pay 1, vanish something 5k or less. Pretty nice. There's a lot of stuff that it kills. Basically, just another card for a better early game. So we have our assists that return or vanish level 2 or lowers. We have our Ejikatas that, if it vanishes a Signy, make your opponent discard a card at random. We have our Lancelots that vanish with pay 1. And that's basically our level 2. So 3 Ejikatas, 3 Lancelots, 3 Gagiels. And then we jump into our level 3s. So here, our main card is Firefly Squid Phantom Aquatic. I think this is the name that they're giving it. Coral Phantom Aquatic B, something like that. I don't know. Or Phantom Aquatic is. We'll see when it. I think it got revealed already. Cockatrice doesn't have the uh, all the English translations in image itself because I believe they're waiting for the whole set. Still that way. What this card says, it's Harmony, 1 white L rig, and then at the beginning of your attack phase, draw 1, which is making you so it's at the beginning of your attack phase. So even if you during your main phase you only drew 1, with this you can proc this before your array. So which means that you will draw 1, and then you have drawn 2 cards, and then you can activate this effect. And then your once per turn is when you discard 1 or more cards from your hand by card's effect, discard 1 card from your opponent's hand at random. So you're making your opponent's card more. As I said, we have Gagiel, we have Regalekis. We're drawing and we are discarding. We have another level 3 that makes us discard too. If your opponent makes you discard, even better too. So this just makes so you're making your opponent discard even more. That's why I like to run Ejikata 2. If you don't have enough to just clear lanes, you can just use this to vanish something else and get something out of it, like making your opponent discard a card. Then our other level 3 is Shiranakuji. Shiranakuji? Is that it? Phantom Aquatic, another aquatic, which has a constant that says while there are more cards in your hand than your opponent's hand, this Signy gets plus 1k power for each 1 card of difference. So once again, we're taking advantage of our making our opponents discard and our drawing, so this card gets bigger. If you have at least 2 more cards than your opponent, this is already a 12k. It can be vanished from like I have the card in the deck, and I Inferno, which is pretty great, and it can get even bigger with you making your opponents discard. So that's pretty great. And then another auto, it's at the beginning of your opponent's attack phase. If there are exactly 6 cards in your hand, you can draw one. If you finish your turn with max hand size, you can even draw one more in your attack phase, so which will make this card get even bigger, because then you would have even one more card than your opponent's hand, so this gets plus K again. And then you have a once per turn. You can pay 2 white, card 2 cards from your hand, target one sign in your opponent's field, and put it into the trash. Again, you're denying enter with this card, and by discarding 2 cards from your hand, you are enabling a Jikara again. Alright? So we have Regalekis, Gagiel, Shiranakuji, and the next one, Tobiel, that literally just enables this. Even though 2 of these cards are level 3s, you're just making your opponents discard, and it's pretty great. I like these types of decks. So yeah, this is a pretty great card too. We're running 3. You can try running more. I didn't really have the space. I felt like 3 was a nice number. And then another card that we're running that basically enables Hijikata and Ray at the same time is Tobiel, full armed. Which whenever the Signy attacks, another target Signy on the field gets plus 5k. Alright, that's fine. Just making another of your cards bigger, so might not be vanished by something. If you're playing Diagram, they have those cards that might give like minus 12k or minus 50k to one of your Signies. With this, basically that Signy gets a little bigger. It can be used in other places, but what we really want this card for is for its enter ability. Discard 2 cards, draw 2 cards. So, as I was saying, we're basically enabling Ray by drawing 2 cards, and we are enabling Hijikata by discarding 2 cards. So, this is pretty nice to enable a lot of our stuff. And yeah, I really like this deck, to be honest. The draw and discard, and enabling effects around that. It's pretty nice. Then, for spells, let's start with our Life Burst spells first. So the majority of Ray decks runs 4 Random Drain. It's pretty nice. You pay 1, you draw 1, and your opponent discards 1, making them discard. You're drawing for your effects. All in all, just a great card. The Life Burst isn't bad. Down target sign your opponent's freeze it, your opponent discards a card. Just overall making even more discards. The majority run 4 of this. I personally, I'm not running 4 of this because I like Deafening Inferno too much. Deafening Inferno is literally just pay 1, finish anything with 10k or less. This is the reason that I don't usually like to run 10k base power Signies on my decks. This is basically a pay 1, get rid of a level 3. Right? I like this card too much. It's probably not needed on this deck. You're going around discarding your opponent's hand and all of that, but if they manage to just draw and get stuff on the field and all of that, I like to have this as a way to just get rid of anything else that I need. That's why I'm running bronze, have a bit more red enter. Use this card. So we are running 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 red cards for enter. We're only running 2 of these, so it's not a big deal if you're running a bit low. But you're drawing or discarding, you will most likely get red in your hand to just charge at the beginning of your turn. So that's pretty great too. And the life burst is just, the life burst is basically just vanish target up signing your opponent's field, just vanish anything that's up. Pretty nice too. So I run 2 and 2 of these. And then the last one we have is Thrilling, which is basically a card that I don't remember the name now. Trouble, same as Trouble, but Trouble, pay 2 and you draw 3. This card, you can draw 2, card 1, by paying 1. But as a new thing that is coming this set, the Exceed effects. You can pay Exceed 4, which means taking 4 cards from under your L rig or assist L rig to pay for the cost, right? So you can pay 1 and get rid of those cards that you are not using anymore, right? Because you don't need those. This is not a Uchu deck that you need cards under your center L rig to activate their effects. Basically, what's under your L rig and assist L rigs, you don't need anymore. So you're running this, you can only activate one of these with the full effect per game. Just have that in mind, because you only get 7 cards under your L rig and the L rig, which means 8. Play this twice. You can only pay it use it once as a draw 3. Because if you pay 1 blue and exceed 4, you can draw 3 cards without discarding anything. It's basically cheaper Trouble. But even if you don't activate the full effect with exceed 4, you can still draw 2 and discard 1, discarding 1 to enable some stuff. You're drawing 2 to enable your array. So it's overall a really great card. And I feel like this is it. This is the deck that I'm running, that I like, and this the deck that I really want to build when next set comes out. This is the deck that I will be focusing more after, like, from all 4 decks. This is something that I really want to play. The deck running around Ray. I really like these types of decks, just drawing, discarding, going to your deck, searching your deck, looking for your piece, making your opponents discard, making all of that. I really enjoy this deck. I'm gonna try and record this deck, and when I get a match that you can really shining, see what the deck can do, I kind of want to post like this video, and then after this one with the gameplay. I'm gonna try doing that. I don't have much time. I'm still waiting for my days off for next week, so that's the thing. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope this was a decent enough explanation and that you try this deck out. This deck is really fun. You're just It's just fun. You're just doing controlling stuff from your opponents, like hand, field, all of that stuff. I really enjoy it. Hope you enjoyed too. Enjoy the video. Don't forget to subscribe if you want to see more content. That's something that helps the channel a lot, at least now that we're still growing and starting all. Uh, if you want, join our Discord server. I'm trying to build a community there. We have some talks. If there is anything you'd like to see, a deck that you'd like to see play, leave it down below in the comments or come to the Discord and tell me there. Follow the Twitter account of the channel. If you wanna, like, sometimes I tweet there if there is something going on with me, with the channel, so follow there if you want to. Might come out some stupid stuff too from time to time. So yeah. So once again, I just third day. Hope you enjoyed it.